Gentleman from Hawaii, Mr. Case, is recognized to address the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think we've already well established in a variety of opening statements, and I think that it is patently obvious that the motivation for this action by the majority to gut the Government Accountability Office starts as a temper tantrum against the GAO doing its job on behalf of Congress to enforce our funding authority. In other words, it's a temper tantrum against them doing their job under the Impoundment Control Act. And it is a conscious effort by the majority in this Congress to cede our appropriation authority to the president by not having any effective oversight against impoundment actions. I think it is also, in the bigger picture, a very conscious effort by the majority to avoid oversight responsibility, to minimize dissent, to eliminate disagreement, and to mute judicial control wherever possible. And in doing so, I believe that this is part of a broader effort by this congressional majority in conjunction with the president to do the same thing right across Congress. We see the same basic thing happening in the administration, where the president, in his first few weeks in office, went after 17 inspectors general who have much the same function in the executive branch as the GAO has in Congress itself. And so you can't tell me that this is not a coordinated effort across all of government to basically get rid of any oversight, dissent, disagreement, and judicial review. That is the context. That is the big picture. That is what is going on with this particular effort to gut the GAO. Leaving all of that aside, let's talk about some of the practical realities of what that actually means. And I refer here to the GAO's own high-risk series. The high-risk series is GAO looking across all of government and on behalf of Congress, identifying the high-risk areas that we have to give attention to because it is where we are bleeding money. Great talk from the majority all the time about waste, fraud, and abuse. That's GAO's job. Now, how is it actually doing that? It is doing that by focusing on high-risk areas, and it maintains a high-risk area list. And it's a very instructive list. Let's just go down this list. It's got a number of areas that we should focus on. Improving the delivery of federal disaster assistance. Yesterday, we had a good debate about FEMA, which the majority has gutted in the Homeland Security bill. And the reason given by the majority for defending that reduction in FEMA was that they had great plans to reform FEMA in terms of its delivery of services. You know what? The GAO agrees with you. The GAO says we have to reform it too, and we think we have to reform it too. And who are we going to ask to help us with that reform, by the way? Are we going to ask the administration to tell us how to do that? Maybe for you, that is the answer. For me, it is an independent agency that is part of Congress to do that, and the GAO is equipped to do that. We've had a great discussion in the Defense Department. 832 billion, is it? In this year, in the bill that we already passed out of this committee. The GAO considers high risk in the DoD its quote-unquote approach to business transformation, its business systems modernization, its contract management, its weapons system acquisition, its financial management. In fact, many of these high-risk areas for the GAO have to do with the operation of the largest single expenditure that we have in all of federal government, the Department of Defense. You want to talk about waste, fraud, and abuse in the DoD? Why are you then eliminating our ability to be able to review that in a professional way through the GAO? Are you thinking our staffs, which are very good, are just going to do it on their own? No, I don't think so. I think we need a little bit of independent expertise to do that. And yet you are denying our ability to do that by this action. You want to talk about cybersecurity? We talked about cybersecurity yesterday. The GAO considers cybersecurity in the federal government a high-risk area, and it has many options and suggestions and expertise. How do you expect us to go about reforming cybersecurity so that we better protect ourselves. So not only are you generally taking care of oversight, dissent, disagreement, and judicial review, but you are practically handicapping this Congress from doing our job in the areas that you yourselves believe are important. I yield back.
I thank the